Let's continue on because this Saturday on DAZN, undefeated Jaime Munguia will look to keep that 0 on his record against John Ryder, who, with a victory, could re-inject himself into the conversation for a world title at 168. There's a good big fight preview with George, Chris, and Paulie that really deep dives into this fight. But Paulie, how do you see this fight playing out here between Munguia and Ryder?
I think it's a good fight. I think Munguia is always in entertaining fights. I think Ryder's always in entertaining fights, and I think the style clash will be very good. I find Munguia will probably be a little. I find probably a little bit too big for Ryder. I think Ryder has to get a little bit closer in order to be able to be more effective. Munguia's punch output is also high typically, and it allows him to kind of sneak through with winning rounds, even if he's taking some contact himself. I mean, Munguia is never going to be mistaken for Pernell Whitaker, but it's also part of the reason what makes him entertaining. He's strong, he's active, and Ryder is a good dance partner. I look forward to this fight.
Yeah, Chris, what do you make, and how do you see this fight playing out?
Yeah, I'm actually getting more excited as this fight is getting closer. When it first got announced, I was like, yeah, okay, it's a good fight. And I saw it more of a litmus test for how Munguia can handle Ryder. Obviously, he's coming off of a good fight against Canelo Alvarez, where he came on strong late. Still lost most of the rounds, if not all of the rounds, but gave a challenge to Canelo. So I think that they're looking at this at, all right, if Munguia can beat Ryder in a more impressive fashion, that it can push for that Canelo fight. But in terms of this fight itself, I like it. John Ryder's he's a very scrappy guy. He's very durable. He's been in with some top opposition in these weight classes. He's a shorter guy, but he is a true super middleweight. He's smaller than Munguia, but his nickname is the Gorilla for a reason. He's very physical. Not the biggest puncher, but he punches hard enough that he can get your respect. And Champ, you said he needs to be on the closer side. I think he needs to have his head on the chest of Munguia in order to be successful. And he actually does that really well.
Maybe his head in his face, too.
Yeah, head in his face, hit him with that third jab that you have, that headbutt. But yeah, I think with his ability to close that distance and get on the inside with Munguia, which is also dangerous because Munguia throws those hands, but also on the way out. Munguia has a tendency to pull straight back at times, uses that reaction to get out of the way. And John does a good job of punching beyond his target, anticipating where his guys are going to go. We saw that against taller guys like Callum Smith and also Daniel Jacobs. He was able to punch past them to where they're going, not to where they are. If he can do that with Munguia, get his head on the inside, dig on the inside, work the uppercuts, he's got a very good rear uppercut, and then hit Munguia again on the way out, I think that would be his best path to success.
George, how do you see this fight playing out between Munguia and Ryder?
I agree with what they're saying. And Chris, you're right. Munguia wants to do what Canelo couldn't do. He wants to stop him. Ryder took a lot of punishment in that Canelo fight. He fought tough, but he took a lot of punishment. I just don't, anything can happen in boxing. I just don't think he punches enough or punches hard enough to beat Munguia. Munguia has got power, and he's very busy in there. So it's going to be a tough night for Ryder. So I see Munguia winning this fight, maybe a wide decision victory or a late round stoppage, which is probably unlikely because Ryder's got a great chin. But again, he took a lot of punishment. If you watch, I just watched that Canelo fight again yesterday, and he was definitely tough, but he took a lot of shots against Canelo. So it's going to be a tough one for him. But Munguia, I think his style is just all wrong for the Canelos, the Benavides of 168. But that's something we'll talk about later. Munguia's got 42 fights, but when you really look at his record, it's not his resume, the fighters he's fought, it's not that impressive, especially when he wants to fight guys like Canelo and David Benavides.
Yeah, and I want to say that if Munguia ends up stopping Ryder, which is no easy task, but let's say for argument's sake, he ends up stopping Ryder in this fight, they're going to try to build up that momentum for that Canelo fight, But I just want to say right now, even a stoppage win over Ryder does not give more momentum for the Canelo fight than what Benavides built up last year. I mean, Benavides has all the momentum for the Canelo fight and is the guy that deserves it, regardless of the way this fight ends on Saturday night. And Munguia, would play it very well if he's able to stop Ryder, because nobody's been able to do it. But I still wouldn't think that kind of momentum would overtake the momentum Benavides has picked up for the title shot against Canelo.
So Chris, what's Jaime Munguia's key to victory here? What does he have to do to win this fight?
Jaime Munguia's got to be Jaime Munguia, man. The guy throws combinations. He's super aggressive. Champ, you mentioned fan-friendly. I like when he fights. It's fun to watch. He's an all-action guy. He gets hit just enough to make it exciting. Doesn't matter really who he fights. This last fight with Derevyanchenko was fantastic. Fight of the year stuff. Derevyanchenko, very, very talented guy, but he's a 60-pounder. Now, Munguia is fighting a real 68-pounder, but a very, very different style than Derevyanchenko. Derevyanchenko throws a lot more combinations. He punches with you. Ryder tends to do a little you go, I go situations and tries to take advantage of gaps. And Munguia doesn't have a lot of gaps. He's a combination puncher. He puts a lot of pressure. He comes forward. So I agree with you, George. I think stylistically it's a very tough matchup for John Ryder, which, again, like you said, all the guys in the weight class, I think it's a tough matchup for John. You know, he's a shorter guy. He's got to get in. He's got to work really, really hard. And like you said in the Canelo fight, he took a lot of damage. I think he's going to take a lot of damage in this fight as well. Does Jaime Munguia stop John Ryder? I don't believe so. I don't think he hits hard enough with any single punch. He's more of a combination guy. His body punching is excellent. Very, very good body punching. Left hook to the liver. He was able to drop Derevyanchenko, who's a very durable guy. That was really impressive. So if there is a path for him to get the stoppage, it would either just from body shots or really being able to overwhelm John Ryder. But Ryder has been in with some big, big punchers, guys like Canelo Alvarez, guys like Callum Smith, and he has not only, you know, done well, but he's gotten to the final bell, and I think we're going to see a final bell in this one too.
All right, we're going to get predictions in just a second here, so hold off on the predictions there. All right, Paulie, what do you see Munguia has to do to win this fight?
Yeah, I think he's just got to be Munguia, be active. I think when you're active enough, you're able to outwork Ryder. Ryder is a crafty guy, and I think his craftiness works a lot on trying to diminish your punch output, making you uncomfortable and doing things. You know, the champ mentioned that he's got to get in real close, get in your chest. If he's able to do that kind of stuff, a lot of times it diminishes your punch output. You're getting smothered, you're getting headbutted, and he finds the space and crevices for his shots because, you know, the reality is that he's got those shorter arms, and having those shorter arms, it allows him to open things up at closer range. Munguia likes to exchange, likes to throw those, have those exchanges and throw those combination punches at middle range, and he does get hit himself because he likes to fight at that middle range with not a crazy radar for a defense. But at the same time, he's so offensive that he's usually able to get the best of the opponents at that range and throw those combinations. So I find that Munguia will be able to control range enough. Not all the time. There will be moments where it will be rough on the inside, and I think Ryder will, will make it competitive. I see it like around an 8-4 fight from Munguia. And like I said, I think if he's able to get a stoppage, I think there will be talk about, the momentum of going into a Canelo fight, but I still don't think that makes up for what Benavidez has done. Plus, it's unfortunate for Munguia. He's Mexican, and Canelo doesn't fight Mexicans.
All right, George, what do you think Munguia has to do to win this fight, or let's say even Ryder to keep it close here?
I mean, everything that the two champs said, and I don't. It's hard for me to see a path for Ryder to win this fight. So I think it's going to be a decision 8-4, 9-3 for Munguia. Maybe a late round stoppage, just an accumulation of punishment if he's really working the body. But I think Munguia goes to 43-0 after this. And I don't think he should get the Canelo fight next. But he's a fan-friendly fighter. And like the guys said, we like to see him fight. They're fun fights when he fights. And
George, you're usually the underdog guy, and you're still pulling Munguia, winning pretty well.
No, I try to get you guys to pick the underdog.
That's what it is.
I never make picks, only on shows like this. I try to make you guys aware that
you like to always remind us about some big upsets over the years.
If there's going to be a stoppage in this fight, it will be from a body shot. I think it would be I could see that would be the only path to a stoppage for Munguia. I would, because Ryder's pretty durable. Maybe later rounds where both guys are fatigued. You're fatigued a little bit in the later rounds, and you get hit with a really good body shot.
Sometimes that's what happened to Derevyanchenko.
Yeah, sometimes that really takes it out of you. Derevyanchenko still with a distance. He was tough and durable, but that's always the risk. With a good body puncher, is that he could always get you out late, even if you're durable with a good chin.
Champ, do you take anything from the fact that he's working with Freddy Roach for this fight, Munguia, first time?
Listen, you always take a little bit of something out of that. Roach, for me, is a very good offensive trainer, and Munguia is an offensive fighter. So, again, I don't think you're going to see Munguia coming in looking like Pernell Whitaker, but I think you're going to see Munguia, being his typical ultra-aggressive self, but maybe, a couple of sharp things here and there. I thought he did well with Morales, but I don't think you're going to fix Munguia's defensive liabilities. I don't think so. But I think, maybe new punching angles, new offensive, not new, but different offensive mentality. It'll be interesting. I think you can only benefit when you work with a guy like Freddy Roach.
And remember, if you want to maybe possibly make some money on that fight, check out sportsbetting.ag, the official betting sponsor of Wednesday Night Fights here on ProBox TV, sportsbetting.ag. And there is the poster right there, Munguia versus Ryder, this Saturday from Phoenix, Arizona on the Zone. It should be a very interesting fight, and we will see if one of those two can make a case for fighting Canelo Alvarez down the line. Not this year, but maybe in 2025. We'll see what happens here. Don't forget, Wednesday night fights. We got the second one of 2024 coming up here on ProBox TV, your boxing channel, from the ProBox TV Event Center in Plant City, Florida. Great main event coming up.
Wednesday night fights.
Hey guys, make sure you tune in Wednesday night fights here on ProBox TV. We got great action fights, 50-50 matchups, and all-out wars throughout. We have consistently put on the best fights around.
Good fighters, great fights on your boxing channel with a star-studded cast bringing you the fight. Myself, Chris Algieri, the former world champion, and of course Mike Goldberg.
So make sure you tune in Wednesday night fights for all the action.
As Goldie likes to say, here we go.
On the next Wednesday night fights, January 31st, Albuquerque's Angela El Chinito Leo battles Magic Mike Plania from the Philippines. From the ProBox Event Center in Plant City, get your tickets at proboxtv.com or take your chances at the door. Wednesday night fights.
And Munguia versus Ryder, they look at the tail of the tape at 168 with Munguia younger, taller, and obviously that should be a little bit of a problem for Munguia with the southpaw stance of John Ryder. Don't forget sportsbetting.ag. You can bet, on that Leo Plania fight. Remember, odds are subject to change. Should be a great fight between Leo Plania and also Munguia and Ryder tomorrow here, or on the Zone, I should say. Okay, time for predictions. Remember, these are predictions. We're not asking you to invest your money based on these predictions here, because we want you to pay your mortgage and rent. So, and if you feel like it, and you trust the information here, because I do, you can go to sportsbetting.ag. All right, George, let's start with you here. What's your prediction, and what's next for the winner?
Well, looking at the odds, if I were betting on this, I would put a couple of bets down. One on Munguia to win, and one for the over. I think the over is 10.5 rounds. So I think those are two pretty good bets, because I think he's either going to win a decision or a stoppage. Munguia, as far as the future goes, if he does not get Canelo, which he shouldn't get, I don't know. He's going to want a higher, you would imagine, with 43 fights under his belt, he's going to want a higher profile fight than Deverenchenko or John Ryder. So there are guys to fight. There's Diego Pacheco, and there's a lot of lions in that division. So he's going to want a higher profile fight. I just don't know what it's going to be. I don't think it will be Canelo, but I don't know who Oscar's going to match him up against. There are guys to fight, and Oscar at the press conference yesterday, he's working with Eddie Hearn for this fight. He's been working with Bob Arum. Oscar was on the platform saying, all the promoters, we have to work together. We're going to work together. Well, let's see if he can work with some people to get Munguia a high-profile fight, because he's still young. 42 fights, he's still young. I really have no idea who he's going to fight, but I think he is going to win Saturday night. And if Chris gives me a few dollars, I'll lay down those bets that I talked about.
Paulie, all right. Paulie, what's your prediction, and what's next for the winner?
Yeah, I look at it like a points victory for Munguia. Again, you could outside chance that there's a stoppage on a body shot, but I look at Ryder as a durable guy, and I could probably the prediction for me is Munguia on points, going the distance. A couple of things that could prevent that: body shot possible, or cut stops the fight, because Ryder is kind of a headbutting guy a little bit with southpaw versus right-hander. That can happen. So those are the outside chances if you were going to go with things not going 12 rounds. But I really haven't seen Ryder, and then Ryder looked like he was going to get stopped early in the Canelo fight, but you just see how durable he actually is. He's very tough to get out of there, and he puts you in some bad situations yourself if you're not careful. So I think it's going to be an entertaining fight, but I think Munguia wins it on points with some activity. As far as where he goes next, I guess for me, it's all going to depend on how good he looks here or how bad he looks. If he's impressive here, you got more options, and people are going to want to see him more. If he's not impressive, then, of course, there's less options. Either way, Munguia is must-see TV.
Yeah, see George already flashing the cash there.
Well, George, I was going to say, if you want, I'll sign the book. You can sell it, and then with earnings of that, you can put some money
you
down
go.
on the fight.
Well, Chris, before you give your prediction, Chris, you know, I will lay some money down because I don't know if anyone's seen sparring sessions. If you have it, go to it. But I made some money in sparring sessions, so I think I will. I do have the money to lay down a good bet. So, Chris, I want to thank you. Paulie is the defending sparring session champion. See, Paulie, look, I might take gifts, but I'm clear with the judging. I'm fair, and you know that.
boy.
Paulie, you know that.
It's not a good thing when the judge is making bets on the fight that
Yeah.
he's judging. Just
Yeah.
putting that out there. But in terms of this fight, yeah, I agree with both you guys. I got Munguia winning this fight. I do think we're going to get to the distance. And not only is John Ryder very durable, I think he's highly motivated. Coming off of that last Canelo fight, he's been in the media. He's very motivated to go on. He believes he belongs with these guys. And he said, if I win this fight, I want Benavidez or Canelo rematch. So he is going to be very motivated. So I do think it's going to be competitive at times. But I got Munguia pulling away.
Arizona's
gonna be a
tough
good
on the
fight.
English. Arizona's tough on the English. Sonny Edwards just fought there.
Yeah, man. Munguia versus Ryder. Don't forget, subscribe to our YouTube page. We're trying to get to 100,000 subscribers. And we got gifts and prizes for the 100,000th subscriber. This is ProBox TV, your boxing channel.